homebabiz.com.
Thank you. I'll go ahead and trend. Just it's not something anybody should take lightly, and it takes time. So that's why there was a topic then, but still hasn't, been executed yet.
Absolutely. We're talking to Ashley Drake of The Natural Grip. Homebabiz.com. Connect, capitalize, go. Ashley, you mentioned something about, wanting to quit the full-time job, and your job is actually more important than probably most of all others out there. A member of the United States Army. We thank you for your service. So what were some of the things and details that you had to think about and consider before you decided to walk away from that safety net, so to speak?
Yeah, definitely getting paid on the 1st and the 15th, an officer's salary is a big thing to walk away from. Ultimately the business does play a role in it, but in addition to that, we have a daughter, she's 5 years old, and so becoming a mom and continuing in the service is a difficult decision point kind of for any female soldier, enlisted or on the officer's side. So I tell everybody, the company has played a role in the decision, but ultimately I want to be there for our daughter, and I'm very thankful for the military career that I've had, and I know that I could go very far in the military, but I also take my responsibility of being a mother very seriously, and your priorities change as you get older and things change in your life. So Ellie is more important than my Army career, and therefore
Wow. Mm-hmm.
I need to focus on that.
I don't think anyone will fault you for making that decision. Definitely a member of the armed forces. Even, my father and both of my brothers have served in different branches of the military. So definitely thank you for your service with that. We're talking with Ashley Drake of The Natural Grip. Now, you mentioned something. 3-4 years in to the business, $1 million in sales later. You go back to your husband saying it'll never sell. When you sold your first 6 figures, what'd he say?
He said, okay, now what? And I said, well, we keep going. It was just kind of like that. He was skeptical at first, but, when we started the business in May of 2013, by the end of that year, we had done $60,000 in sales. And so that was kind of the moment like, oh man, this is legitimate. We got to worry. The tax man's going to be interested in this, we've got to be interested in this, what are we going to do? And it was really a decision point, were we going to walk away or were we going to continue on that path? And, luckily my husband had the opportunity where he could, change his profession and take the production on full time. So, he's just as committed as I am to making this successful. And every day we're surprised, by the growth of the company. But we're putting in the level of work that it takes to make that a reality. And there's no wasted time in our family. So we're here as long as it takes, and plus some.
So why don't you tell the listeners how to get more information about The Natural Grip?
Yeah, the best way is social media. We're very active on all of our social platforms, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. If you're just interested, kind of want to check us out or start following us, I highly recommend, at The Natural Grip. And we're on all those platforms. And then also you can check out our product on our website, www.thenaturalgrip.com, and you can order a pair for right there from our website.
Awesome. Ashley Drake with The Natural Grip, CEO, might I add, right here. Thank you for taking your time out on homebabiz.com.
Thank you for having me.
Connect, capitalize, go.
Hi, I'm Eugene Rowe, host of the podcast For Business. On behalf of our team, I'd like to say thanks. Every month, we're able to impact thousands of lives all over the globe with relevant, impactful, and insightful guests. Some of them have even been featured on national television shows like ABC's Shark Tank and CNBC's The Profit. Our mission is simple: to journey with you on your road to achievement. To do that, I'd like to invite you to partner with us in our Share All promise. I promise to continually share for free without commercial interruption and unnecessary subscriptions. And I ask that you promise to share us with your friends. Here's something you like? Simply use the social share buttons at the bottom of the page to tell your network about the podcast For Business. It's simple, easy, and only takes 5 seconds. That's it, partner. You've made the Share All promise.
Inside the mind of the owner. Radio for small business. Connect, capitalize, go.
It's Eugene Rowe with the Radio for Small Business. Visit homebiz.com for great interviews, tips, tricks, hints, and everything with real entrepreneurs. Connect, capitalize, and go. Okay, this guest built his business from the ground up. It's built by a passionate and driven brother-sister millennial team in their hometown of Carmel, California. Skylar, Scarlett, welcome to Radio for Small Business.
Yeah, Eugene, thank you so much for having me.
Now,
pleasure to be on your show.
Oh, thank you. You're welcome. Glace Cryotherapy, that's your business. You guys just had a big appearance on national television. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that, and then we'll get into some specifics.
Yeah, no, so we, my sister and I, we found a new therapy in America, and we dove right into it in our hometown, tiny Carmel, California. Only has a population of 4,000, but we really saw a quick success. And we applied to Shark Tank, I think, when we were 7 months in business, and fortunately for us, we beat out 70,000 other entrepreneurs to appear on season 7, episode 20.
Wow.
And have just kind of taken off ever since. And it's been quite the journey for us so far.
So, Skylar, you already said 3 things I've got to ask about. First of all, you work with your sister. You know, a lot of people have sibling rivalries and things like that. How do you all get along, and how do you make the business run?
Yeah, that's a great question. Honestly, we're 6 years apart, and we grew up, we hated each other. So that's a great question to ask. I think the thing is, we're actually the perfect team. I'm kind of the big dreamer who, I think I could open 1,000 locations in a year. And she's more reserved and more the container. And, she makes sure that we're organized and balanced and we don't rush into anything. So we kind of balance each other out, and we have different strengths. I'm really the
Dishing out.
We're both kind of in low spot. I had just been dumped by my college sweetheart. She broke my heart. And,
oh, man.
I was very motivated to, go out there and conquer the world and succeed. And my sister, had just gone through with the job where she had a horrible experience for 3 years. She come home crying from her job. And so she didn't really know what she was going to do with her life. And we kind of came together and found this cryotherapy and said, hey, this therapy is amazing. Can we make it work? So we said, yes, we can. Let's do it in Carmel and, make this thing, which bring cryotherapy to America. So when we started, we were definitely at a low point. But, we both had the motivation to say we want to have better lives. We want to, to feel something inside of each other and, make this happen.
Wow.
That's really where the motivation comes from.
So even though two big personal, I guess, low points, like you said, you came out with a great idea, obviously, and then you're in business for 7 months and you beat out 70,000 applicants for Shark Tank. What do you think set you all apart from the other 69,993 applicants?
Well, first of all, I think we're lucky that we have such an interesting, therapy that we work with. I mean, first of all, when people say, oh, man, you freeze people for 3 minutes, it really catches people's attention. So first of all, cryotherapy is just different. It's a brand new industry here in America. So I don't think they'd ever had seen any audition tapes or anybody go in there and auditioning for cryotherapy. We're probably the first. And then also the fact that we're brother, sister, and people go, how do you work with your sister? How do you work with your brother? And, we're both very, very passionate. And they could see that in our audition video, how passionate we were. And I think we really knocked it out of the park with our audition video. It's probably the hardest stage you got to get past when you're playing the Shark Tank. And, we made a good 10-minute video. I kind of popped out of the crowd on like a Jack in the Box. And they told us that the producers just loved the video. And I think that's really what set us apart.
So not only are you working with your sister, not only have you been in business 7 months and all of a sudden you get on Shark Tank, but you're also millennials. And, a lot of people say millennials are unmotivated, they're lazy. What do you say to that, knowing that you have a crazily growing business right now?
Yeah, I think, millennials are very misunderstood. Most of my friends, they all want to own their own businesses and do their own things. And I think a lot of millennials are striving, to get to the point where they can, try to do something on their own. Because I do think there's that misconception that we're lazy and we don't care. I can tell you right now that millennials are actually very, very passionate. I just know from my friends that they really do. We all kind of want to do our own thing and, have a huge impact.
Wow.
So I do like the fact that we're millennials and, we've seen quick success. Hasn't been without, the occasional valleys, which, every entrepreneur will encounter.
Right.
But there's been a lot of peaks, which have been fantastic for us so far.
So great. Awesome. So now a lot of people think just because you go on Shark Tank, you're a contestant on a TV show. Okay. But you're actually pitching a business opportunity, an investment opportunity. Had you guys pitched investors prior to even applying for Shark Tank?
No, honestly, not like that. I mean, we have met with so many potential partners and, individuals that are interested in cryotherapy, and a few before Shark Tank, but it was never in the capacity that we're really pitching our business for someone to give us a big chunk of money and invest in it. So that was really, our Glossy Cryotherapy is our first business. And I didn't really take any business courses in college, and neither did my sister. So we've been kind of learning as we go, but there's no better way to learn. I mean, of course, with security, so we can, support ourselves and our family and our friends. But more so than anything, we want to see cryotherapy succeed. And we wanted to find the right partner that we thought, hey, they can, actually make cryotherapy, help us scale this in America. So we were definitely willing to, I think, part with at least 40% equity. And that was probably our final limit was 40% when we were going into Shark Tank.
Wow. So with that, I heard you mention scale. I think I visited your LinkedIn page and I saw the word franchise there. How are you guys scaling since being on the show, or what are the plans for scaling in the next couple of years?
Well, yeah, I mean, therapy spas in the whole country. I'm pretty sure 15 of them were in Texas. So it was brand new. And we're kind of, inventing the game as, we're going along, making the rules and everything. And we just said this therapy works so well that it really should be in every single city. And after a year, there's not 20 anymore. There's around 250 locations. So It's growing as I expected it to. We wanted, for franchise, you got to give people a reason to franchise with you. So, there's a huge learning curve to cryotherapy. There's ways to market it, ways to give the therapy correctly and effectively and give that good experience. And we feel like we've mastered that. And since Shark Tank, we've received probably over 1,000 franchise requests.
Wow.
But, your first 20 or so franchises are so important for setting up your future. They have to be very selective on who you choose and what locations you go into. But probably the most important thing that's happened is the vice president of a huge fitness club chain watched our Shark Tank episode, called me 2 days after the show and said, hey, how would you like to put Glossy Cryotherapy inside of our fitness club? I said, absolutely. I love it.
Wow.
And, right? I have all these franchise requests. And what's going to happen is we're about to finalize a deal this week, actually. They have over 600 locations in the country. And we can either put our own corporate locations or we can sell to want financial. And once they present this to the franchise request we've already received, I think a lot of investors are going to jump all over it because it's a huge opportunity to own your own business, get into a new therapy that's really taking off, and it's going to be a great model inside of this fitness club.
Well, I tell you, it really sounds like you guys are having some rocketing success. Definitely you and your sister. What's your sister's name?
My sister's name is Brittany.
Okay, we want to give Brittany some credit too, right? Because she like you said, she keeps you grounded, right?
She deserves a lot of it. We wouldn't be where we are without her. I mean, if I didn't have her, I probably would have blown this thing all up because I'm so aggressive. But she really, she's amazing at marketing. There's no one better at marketing. And, as far as being organized, there was so much paperwork and phone calls and emails. And she is absolutely amazing at keeping us organized and on track. So without her, there'd be no Glossy.
Awesome.
That's without a doubt.
Awesome. Well, just in case you're just tuning in, we've been talking to Skylar Scarlett with Glossy Cryotherapy. Skylar, why don't you tell the listeners how to find out more about Glossy Cryotherapy?
Please visit us on our website, www.glossycryotherapy.com. It has a bunch of great information for individuals to check out, and also it has a great webpage on it that will discuss the franchising possibilities with us. And then also, if you're in Carmel, California, my sister and I, we still operate on-site at our Carmel location. If you want to meet us in person, you can definitely come in, and I'm always happy to discuss Shark Tank and entrepreneurial advice to anybody that walks in while I'm here, which I don't know how much longer that will be, but while I'm here, I'm definitely open to it.
Awesome.
And C&B Simple, to journey with you on your road to achievement. To do that, I'd like to invite you to partner with us in our Share All promise. I promise to continually share for free without commercial interruption and unnecessary subscriptions. And I ask that you promise to share us with your friends. Here's something you like? Simply use the social share buttons at the bottom of the page to tell your network about the podcast for business. It's simple, easy, and only takes 5 seconds. That's it, partner. You've made the Share All promise.
All new radio for small business. Connect, capitalize, go.
So here's what you should know. Nate Barbera and Desiree Stoller's business all started when someone accidentally put a favorite tan wool sweater in the dryer. You should know Desiree Stoller, owner of Unshrink It, is on radio for small business right now. Desiree, thanks for taking your time out.
Oh, you're welcome.
So you got to tell me, how old were you when you got the idea for Unshrink It, or the epiphany that sweaters don't go in the dryer?
Sadly, I was 28 when I realized that wool sweaters probably don't belong in the dryer ever.
So you got to tell the experience. Was it an emergency, or did you just say, let's see if it works?
Oh, it was negligence. When you're in graduate school, you're doing a million things at once. You're studying, you're on the phone, you're trying to do too much at once. And I literally just put all my clothes together in the same pile and thought they would all come out nice and beautiful and clean. And to my surprise, the wool sweaters came out a couple sizes too small.
Oh, boy.
Which is a little disconcerting, considering that when you're in grad school, you don't have money to replace wool sweaters. So I immediately started thinking, how can I rectify this? Because the last thing I want to do is have to either not have a sweater, it's frost and it's cold, or try to buy a new one. So I looked for home remedies and thought one worked really well. And I, quote, unshrunk, end quote, sweater that I wore to class at Harvard Business School. And over the course of the day, it continued to shrink to the point where it was a crop top.
So you're a grad student, you're doing 50 things at one time, and you throw
the profit. Our mission is...
And that's where the idea came from. So it's your business is Unshrink It. Talk about the process where you say, okay, I'm going to become a mad scientist, or what happened?
Well, the process was that Harvard Business School had just launched a program where they would give students $5,000 to start a micro business. And I convinced my 5 other classmates that this would be a brilliant idea. Why not? We have the money and the time to tinker around for a few months and try to crack the nut on shrunken wool clothing. And thankfully, they agreed with me that it'd be more fun to do than a mobile app or a website. And so we started doing some research on what makes wool shrink. And Nate had a background at Johnson & Johnson during product development and was really comfortable looking at old wool textbooks and researching the science behind things. And he proceeded to make a bunch of suggestions for things that could work. And as a team, we tested them out over a few months.
So eventually you get a product and a business that's successful enough for you all to think about raising capital. Can you talk about that process where you decided to say, hey, we're going to bring on some new investors?
Well, in many ways, the process
for your business can
be doing in sweater season, so September through May, we used our own funds to do that. It was only once we started to get interest from retailers and from international distributors that we said to ourselves, perhaps we should look for external funding. Now, remind the fact that once we graduate from graduate school, we're going to have loans and bills and families to provide for, and we should probably try to cover a salary. So that was the catalyst to looking for capital, and we looked at it in all the most traditional places with angel investors, with accelerators, with families and friends, and with a couple of VC firms in the DC and Boston area.
So I like the way that you were getting interest from retailers and wholesalers and things like that, because that probably made your pitch a lot more appealing. How did, I guess, your experience with pitching venture capital firms and angel investors, how'd that help you when you got onto ABC's Shark Tank?
Tremendously. By the time we went on Shark Tank, we had already done close to 50 pitches in front of VCs, angels, professors, friends who were going into private equity and venture capital. And more importantly, we had basically finished up our entire degree. So I literally had a diploma on the wall by the time I was filming at Shark Tank. So you felt as though you had the academic credentials behind you, but also a great deal of practice. Now, Shark Tank is a completely different animal, literally. The that got us actually to the first thought is that look at notes or to confer with one another. It's really supposed to be you in the pressure cooker. What do you do in a moment of intensity to really sell your product and to sell yourself?
So you've made the pitch. You've made 50 pitches before you got to Shark Tank. You're standing on the carpet for 2 hours. Can you talk to us about not necessarily, what was going through what was going through your mind? What's the mentality and mindset that you had to have in order to really repel all the different things that they would ask about your business and make sure you knew your numbers? What's the mentality you had to prepare for?
It's a great question. I will tell you that the best thing, that the mentality that served me best was frankly
being exceptionally confident that I had a product that truly was worthwhile, that I myself was a person of integrity, and that our business, although not perfect to everyone, had a lot of strong qualities to it. So it's a sense of confidence going in. And I will tell you, the first 5 minutes, you feel buffeted left and right. They're asking you question after question. They're overlapping. There's a sense of impatience because their time is valuable and they want to find out as much as possible about you. And they don't want you to be able to go and what I want. There was a moment in which that literally happened where 3 or 4 people asked the same question. And I happened to hear Kevin's question come out in a way that I thought we had prepared it well and it was going to make us look great. So I answered it and he loved my answer. And to my surprise, so there's a momentary freak out session where you're thinking they're Damon and Mark, and I say, hey, you didn't answer my question. Instead, because my answer was so good to Kevin, they dropped their initial question and asked a follow-up to that one. So it created this wonderful domino effect where basically every question flowed from answers that I really had thought through how I wanted to answer it, and I thought we were going to represent us very well. And so it just continuously made us look better.
So you took control. Even though you weren't asking the questions, you took control in your mind and you said, hey, this is what we want to say about our business. And here it is. Here's the answer that I want to give you.
Exactly.
Okay. That's probably a good tip for anybody anywhere that's pitching, right?
I mean, well, it's great advice. It's hard to take. And I want to say, had Nate and I, if you're trying to be a person, I can't tell you how many people, said that they were going to try to be a persona on Shark Tank. And Nate and I said no. Under pressure, particularly under pressure for an hour or 2 hours, you eventually revert to yourself. You might as well practice being yourself.
Desiree, I've got to tell you, you are a very wise woman, okay? You've probably dropped 5 or 6 golden nuggets in this few minutes that we've been talking. And just in case you're just tuning in, we're talking to Desiree Stoller, co-founder of Unshrink It. You've seen him on Shark Tank. You've seen him in other national television shows. Desiree, why don't you tell the listeners how to get a hold of you?
You can reach me at hi@unshrinkit.com, or you can go straight to our website, unshrinkit.com, and fill out the information on the contact page.
Awesome. Desiree Stoller, co-founder of Unshrink It. Thanks for taking your time out on Radio for Small Business.
You're welcome.
Connect, capitalize, go.
Hi, I'm Eugene Rowe, host of the podcast For Business. On behalf of our team, I'd like to say thanks. Every month, we're able to impact thousands of lives all over the globe with relevant, impactful, and insightful guests. Some of them have even been featured on national television shows like ABC's Shark Tank and CNBC's The Profit. Our mission is simple: to journey with you on your road to achievement. To do that, I'd like to invite you to partner with us in our Share All promise. I promise to continually share for free without commercial interruption and unnecessary subscriptions. And I ask that you promise to share us with your friends. Here's something you like? Simply use the social share buttons at the bottom of the page to tell your network about the podcast for business. It's simple, easy, and only takes 5 seconds. That's it, partner. You've made the Share All promise.
All new radio for small business. Put your mouth where your money is. Radio for small business with HomeBiz.
It's Radio for Small Business, HomeBiz.com. Your host, Eugene Rowe. My next guest has luggage that folds. I'm about to get on a plane literally right now, and we need to talk to Mr. Stephen Hirsch of Biagi. Stephen, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So can you tell us a little bit of luggage that folds? Okay, that's something interesting. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your business and your products?
Yeah, so Biagi makes innovative travel products, not only luggage that folds, but other products that make travelers' lives simpler. But our core product, like you mentioned, is foldable luggage because, as you know, luggage takes up a lot of space in your home, and this is an issue that nobody really has dealt with before we came along. Basically, we make durable, lightweight luggage that you can fold up and store easily in a drawer, on a shelf, under a bed, things like that.
And that makes sense. I literally have a whole corner full of luggage, and you can't fold it, you can't throw it under anything, and I've got a whole corner of one of my offices full with just empty luggage sacks. So that's a great idea. So
Thank you.
What part of the world are you in, by the way?
I live in New York.
I know that eventually your business was able to get to the point where you were able to kind of start with raising capital and things like that, because I know some people have seen you on ABC's Shark Tank. Can you tell us about the journey to raising capital? Not necessarily the show, but the journey that you took to starting to raise capital.
So my company is pretty much self-funded by me and my partners. We don't borrow. That's really not our business model. We invest in our own business. We sell inventory. Once in a while, we'll borrow it against purchase orders. If we get a big order from somebody, we might use a factor. I don't know if you know what a factor is. I'm assuming you do.
Yes, I do, yeah.
I guess your listeners don't know what a factor is. Basically, you get an order from a company, like let's say I do business with QVC, for example. They'll write me an order, and in order for me to be able to pay my factory before I get paid by them, I'll borrow against that purchase order.
So, and that's interesting. Most people think you get an order from, say, for instance, a Target or a QVC or somebody, and they automatically send the money. But it could be quite a while before, purchasers actually send you the cash, right?
Yeah, it could be 60 days or even as much as 90 days.
So when it comes to, I know you said you guys don't borrow necessarily. That's not your business model. There are probably a million people that would call